So the things that you're going to find with this special edition, which is the collector's edition, you're going to see one base game and the expansion that was released 1 year after the original one. What you get here is pretty simple. You get the single player here, and you're going to see here a map editor. You're going to see a historical campaigns. Now, in historical campaigns, you get England 100 Years War. You got Crécy, and you are going to go into Poitiers and Agincourt. Then you can go for France in Orléans, the Loire Valley, and Bataille. You have Barbarossa. This is the Holy Roman Emperor, and you have Milan Border Fort, Carcano, the Milan Road, San Romano, and Legnano. If you go to Saladin, you have these three battles: Marjayoun, the Horns of Hattin, and Acre. With Richard, you have Arsuf and Jaffa, and with the Golden Horde, you have Kalka River, Kiev, Liegnitz, and Mohe. Now, different is historical battles. This is ancient battles that you are going to be able to test like ancient battlefields. This is going to be a trademark for the Total War series because you are going to find historical battles all over the titles. In medieval, you have Bannockburn 1314, Battle of Hastings in 1066, and Stamford Bridge 1066 also, and Battle of Stirling Bridge in 1297. As you can see, with the Bannockburn, you have Robert the Bruce and King Edward II. You also have William II, Eustace of Boulogne, and Alan Fergant, including for the opposings, Harold II. And by the way, this is the actual enemy. You have the units in here, and this is your faction. For Stamford Bridge, you are Harold, and you are fighting against the Einstein Orri, Tostig, and Harald Hardrada. And for the Stirling Bridge, you are William Wallace, and you fight Jean de Varne. If you want to support me, go to the description and support me in Buy Me a Coffee. It is very much appreciated. Let's get on with the video. Now, if you go to New Campaign, you're going to find the difficulty, and in here is where the whole collection takes form. If you are to purchase this, or you have the actual CD, you are going to see, and you don't have the expansion, you're going to see just the early period, high period, and late period. These are eventually the normal options that you have for the standard game. Now let's have a look at the high period, which I think is the most famous, so to speak. And here we have 15 factions to choose from, and you can see here which are those factions. You have a vast selection of factions from the Almohads in Northern Africa, the Aragonese. Actually, the Aragonese is one faction that you cannot play in medieval Total War II. You can play it here. You have the Byzantines, the Danes, Egyptians, the English, and the French eventually. You have the Germans that are listed here, but it's pretty much the Holy Roman Empire. Hungarians, the Italians, Polish, Russians over here. The Sicilians, which are actually the Normans, and the Iberians, let's say, because Spain is not actually a country. And then you have the Turks, because eventually it is the moment in which the Turks are going to be expanding. Eventually, if you go to the late period, you're going to see different factions that have grown, and eventually in the early period, you have as well different sizes from each of the factions, as you can see. The Byzantines in the early period are very, very big, as you can attest right now in this map. And eventually you have the Vikings, which is the expansion. And this is pretty much the precursor of Thrones of Britannia and was shown like this in this expansion. And basically what we see here are these 8 factions from the Irish to the Welsh, and you have the Mercians, Northumbrians, even the Picts, as you can see, Saxons, Scots, and the Vikings. Now you see that you have the Scots and the Picts, which are separated, which is pretty interesting. And the Saxons are called plain Saxons, but are eventually the Anglo-Saxons. The Vikings, interestingly enough, you have all of these countries that are now Norway and Denmark, but this is going to be bunched up in one single piece. And you have here King Ragnar Lodbrok. It is based on the raid of Lindisfarne. If you want to see more videos about the Vikings, you can check this video up in here. And also you can see that you're going to be able to send raids for the Vikings all over the place. The map is exactly the same as Thrones of Britannia, as you can see. So thank you for watching. This is what you get when you buy Medieval Total War, the collection.